Welcome, Norwegian Indian poet and writer Saroj Chumber to our
Hello.
Nordic Bengali literary event. It is an event supported by Swedish Academy, and my name is Anisur Rahman. I am a writer. I am working for Literature Centrum Uppsala. So I am leaving the word to you, Saroj, and you are welcome to present your authorship, and then you are welcome to read your short story.
Thank
Welcome,
you so
Saroj.
much. Thank you so much, Anisur, for giving me this opportunity to read my short story. So, as Anisur, you have already mentioned my name. It's Saroj Chumber. I live in Oslo. I'm originally from India, but I've lived in Oslo for 27 years. And I have worked as a journalist, and I'm a writer, and I work also as a translator and interpreter. And I've had lots of short stories published, and I'm working also on a book. I also run my own writers group. It's called Writers Cafe Oslo. We're over 600 members, but let's say we're like 25 active members where we meet once or twice a month and discuss our writing process and do some exercises. So today I'm going to read a short story called The Dancer and the Cuckoo Clock, which was published in an anthology both that is given out by Anisur and your project. And also it was published in an anthology here in Oslo under a group called Oslo Writers League. So I'm going to read it, and the title is The Dancer and the Cuckoo Clock. Nothing was wrong with her marriage. So how can nothing kill a marriage? Kieran took a deep breath. She had to tell him this evening. She touched the letter in the pocket of her dress, as if drawing courage from it. The little bird popped its head out and let out a fine cuckoo. Then it went back to the familiar sounds. Tick-tock, tick-tock. The large pendulum in the middle of it swung to and fro. Tick-tock, tick-tock. She began setting the table, mechanically arranging the plates, forks and knives, glasses, and placing the pie she had made in the middle on a coaster. Pressing her hands into her side, she slid them down across her skirt, listening to the cuckoo clock going tick-tock, tick-tock in the living room. It was a quartz cuckoo clock bought nearly 17 years ago on their honeymoon at a flea market in Los Angeles. Dinner's ready, she said loudly. He came in quietly, his face half concealed behind the book he was still holding. He placed it near his plate and started eating, his face devoid of expression. She looked at him from the corner of her eye. He was graying fast, thinning on top of his head. He needed reading glasses now. They were perched neatly on his nose, making his big eyes seem even larger. His sharp nose had earned him the nickname Eagle in college, but she used to love it back then, saying it gave him character. He was still a good-looking man, unlike some of his college friends, many of whom had expanded waistlines and bald pates. He cut a slice of the pie, and she heard him chewing softly. Chew, chew, chomp, chew, chomp, chomp, chew, chew. She tried to ignore it, the sounds of him ruminating the food, digging her fork into the pie. Chew, chew, chomp, chomp, chew, chew. She wanted to get earplugs so that the sound would not penetrate her ears, feeling her skin contract in distaste. She cast a surreptitious glance at his hands as they worked in tandem, the knife cutting a slice, making the hand move forward and backwards in quick motion, then the left hand holding the fork, lifting the morsel and navigating it towards his mouth, emitting that sound, that dreadful sound. Chew, chew, chomp, chomp, chew, chew. She couldn't remember the last time his hands had touched her. It wasn't his fault, really. She was the one who had withdrawn from his amorous advances. They slept in separate rooms now. She had told him it was his snoring. She never told him that she could no longer stand his touch, hating the feel of his breath on her skin. She had often wondered what he thought about it, but he never said anything to her. They had just stopped talking. He took another bite of the pie. The crust seems a bit hard, he said. Her fork made a clattering sound as she dropped it on the table. Jay, is that all you can say, that the crust seems a bit hard? The sharpness of her tone made him swiftly turn to look at her. What do you want me to talk about? I don't know. We used to talk so much earlier, don't you remember? We would stay up all night talking about almost everything under the sun. We were silly college students back then. We're grown-ups now. I really don't have much to tell you, except boring details about my work, and you wouldn't be interested in that, would you? She shook her head. Something was building inside her, a wave, a big bubble. It threatened to engulf her. Love doesn't necessarily die for any other reason than sheer boredom, she thought. There was nothing wrong with him. He was still that same person she had married, but slowly, almost imperceptibly, a chasm seemed to have formed between them. Even the fact that they didn't have children wasn't his fault, but hers. When, despite numerous attempts, she had been unable to conceive, they finally went to a doctor and discovered that her ovaries were not able to produce eggs. The doctor had, of course, given them a medical term for it, polycystic ovary syndrome. Instead of the sound of children, she got used to the sound of him every day. Jay getting up, taking a shower, wearing his clothes, driving his car, flinging his keys on the table, turning the page on his book, turning on his side on the sofa, flipping through channels on his remote. Even without looking at him, she knew what he was doing by just listening to the sound of him. She was used to it. Until one day, the sound of him eating began to annoy her. She tried to ignore it at first, but as the days rolled by, her irritation grew stronger. Chomp, chomp, chew, 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 chomp, burp, slurp, chew, chew. She thought it would pass, but with each day it seemed to grow louder and more aggravating. Chew, chew, chomp, chomp, chew, chew, chomp, chomp. She looked at him. How could he stand this? This silence with only the sound of chewing breaking it, or the sound of the cuckoo clock. Tick-tock, tick-tock, cuckoo. My life, she thought, is trapped somewhere between these sounds, the unbearable sounds of emptiness enveloping them, her and Jay. Her restless feet tapped the floor. They were dainty, and today she had painted them in red color, outlining the edges like the dancers do when they perform. But the red lines were concealed inside her shoes, like the rest of herself, invisible and concealed. She often danced in the spare room after Jay left for work. It was the one thing that kept her sane, the sound of her ghungroos. Her plate was almost untouched. The piece of pie lay like a silent witness to the unspoken words between them. You haven't eaten anything. Are you all right? Jay looked at her, his big eyes fixed on her face, his expression inscrutable. I'm dead, Jay. I'm dead, she whispered. What do you mean? His brows came together to form a deep wrinkle in the middle of his forehead. I'm dead. You're dead. This. She waved her arms in the air. Everything is dead. She felt a sob caught in her throat. How can you stand this? How can you stand me? You're my wife. Why are you being so dramatic? His eyes squinted and lips pursed in inquiry. She felt the tears leaving a salty taste on her lips. I feel less alive than that damned cuckoo clock. And I can't stand you. I hate that sound you make when you eat. I just hate it. I hate it. He turned so still that she could hear the cuckoo clock louder than before. Tick-tock, 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 tick-tock. Maybe the cuckoo clock knew they were on a time limit. And finally, their time was running out. Tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. I didn't realize you were so unhappy with me, Jay said. We're still in our 30s, yet we're living like a retired couple in their 70s. Surely there's more to life than this, she said. Oh, if you're bored, find a hobby, he said. Most of the people I went to school with are either established dancers or teaching in dance academies, except me. I was the best in my class, and today I'm just an IT engineer's wife. Jay looked at her, blinking like he did when he was at a loss for words. She swallowed and took a deep breath. I've had a suitcase packed in the guest room for many days now, mustering the courage to tell you. But this evening, when I heard us eating dinner, I just knew I couldn't sit here another evening after evening, pretending our marriage is good. Don't leave, please. What did I do wrong, Kiran? The words were forced out as if he didn't have air in his lungs to speak or breathe. Nothing. You did nothing wrong, but I can't live with you anymore. I've booked a flight back home to my parents in Bangalore. The next morning, she woke to feel a lightness she hadn't felt in a long time, the sun rising inside her after a dark night. Jay had already left for the office. She reached for the letter under her pillow. It was from her old dance master. Dear Kiran, I'm so happy to know that you've accepted my offer to take over the dance academy. You're the only one I can trust to carry my legacy further. She heard the cuckoo clock pop its head out and say, cuckoo. The end. Thank you.
Thank you, Saroj. We hope to hear you soon again, any other literary occasion from Uppsala. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.